So now let's go into this other drag queen story. Let's talk about Heklina. Now, Peaches Christ, I believe, did an interview with there's a follow-up actually. I believe she recently did an interview because I was just trying to figure out how I'm gonna word all this together. But she recently did an interview. She was talking about Heklina and the fact that how the police have not given her any updates in regards of her death, and she's been dead for 2 damn years. They said they were looking at some suspects or whatever the case was. We don't know what's going on with that. So um here's the story. Now, they said drag legend Peaches Christ has continued to speak out for her friend Heklina and against the police incompetence on how they've handled her death. Now, 2 years later, Peaches Christ is still waiting to hear any updates from the London police's investigation on the sudden death of Heklina, Peaches' friend, tourmate, and fellow San Francisco legend. It wasn't until January 24th of 2025 that CCTV video footage was released by the London Police Department, as reported by Metro Brooke Davies. That footage showed 3 men walking by the hotel where Heklina was. Ultimately, it's been the first tangible process and noteworthy update during this year's long investigation, even though the official website for the UK government highlights that any owners of CCTV video must usually provide the footage free of charge within 1 calendar month. Now, even more specifically, the official website for the city's government of London stipulates that most video requests in the city should only take a number of days. Now, 2 years later, Peaches Christ is still waiting to hear any updates from the London police investigation on the sudden death of Heklina, Peaches' friend, tourmate, and fellow San Francisco legend. Um, well, we'll have to feel like I'm repeating the same damn thing twice. Now, they said, question, what did the London police tell Peaches Christ in the days that followed Heklina's death? Saying, when I was still in London, detectives met with me multiple times. This is what Peaches told out. Even after I was cleared, excuse me, as a suspect, I had to stick around 3 more days in order to obtain all of my belongings in the apartment. The San Francisco Queen went on by saying the following, quote, at one of these meetings, I was assured that I would be kept in the loop regarding the investigation, and I was even appointed a family liaison who I met with. However, once I arrived back in the US, communication ceased to exist. Then they asked her, did the police offer any theories or suspicions about what might have happened? She said they really didn't, but they kept making it clear to me that drugs were found, Peaches recalls. I asked which drugs were found, and there were and were there lethal amounts. Do you have a fentanyl problem here? But I wasn't getting any clear answers. Peaches continues. They, the police, never seemed convinced of my conviction that Heklina wasn't alone when she passed. They questioned how I know that. I would point out all the evidence and explain that they needed to get into her phone, in order to find out who had been at our flat. I even sent them an Apple hack to get into the phone, which they said they would use. So it was like they didn't want to take it seriously. Y'all the ones that went to the academy to learn how to be a police officer. Do your job. Why do I have to come in and how would you know that such and such a thing? Because I think I know my goddamn friend. I think I would, I mean, and it's common sense that it's like, come on, if she's critically thinking where y'all are not, the hell else do you think would be the only option? Y'all just want to wrap y'all stuff up quick. But okay, you're a suspect. You going to jail. What evidence, sir? Or whoever was covering it. So now, after many months, they sent Heklina's phone back to Nancy French, who is Heklina's next of kin, and we assumed they had gotten what they needed. Months after that, they told us they never opened it. So what the actual fuck? So why would I send you the phone, the information on how to hack into it, but you still didn't do the work? Oh, we didn't go and open it. So you didn't even take this damn thing seriously, because yet again, like I've said many a times, when it comes to crimes against LGBTQ plus people, y'all don't give a damn. Which is why a lot of times they don't come forward in situations. So now They also asked the question, did the London police provide you any contact information to reach out? How often did you and or Nancy reach out? So Peaches said yes, and we were reaching out for many months, up to a year, with little or no response. It wasn't until I told them I was coming back to London for my show at the Royal Albert Hall that I heard rumors from a trusted source that the coroner determined the death wasn't caused by a OD. At that point, they responded and requested a Zoom call with Nancy, Detective Dean Purvis, and I. This is what Peaches added. This is why, when he admitted that he had been negligent in doing anything related to the case, we were aghast. So then they go on to ask the question, were there other updates about Heklina's death investigation between April 2023 and January 2025? Now, Peters recalls a video conference meeting in which Detective Purvis apologized and said that he believed detectives may have brought a bias to the case. You don't say. However, he insisted they'd be better about communicating with us as they attempted to pursue the case in earnest. But we quickly learned that this wasn't true, as emails once again went unanswered for months at a time. 2 years later, Peaches Christ is still awaiting to hear any updates from the London police investigation on the sudden death of Heklina, Peaches' friend, tour mate, and fellow San Francisco legend. So, then they also said this. They said it wasn't until April 24, 2025 that CCTV video footage was released by the London Police Department as reported by Metro's Brooke Davies. The footage showed 3 men walking by the hotel where Heklina was, which we did bring up on the show a couple of weeks ago. Now, ultimately, it's been the first tangible process and noteworthy update during this year-long investigation, even though the official website of the UK government highlights that any owners of CCTV video must provide the footage free of charge. Now, why does it feel like that a lot of this is repeating itself? So then it went on to say more in regards of this. So I had to put up the Peaches Christ tweet when she was in London. So, then they were asking about, because I was like, where am I with this story? So they said, are you comfortable disclosing your theories about the events that might have led to Heklina's death? And said, my theory has always been for sure she was not alone when she needed help. The detectives kept telling me that they found drugs. And they said there was drugs in there, but there was no drugs. And then they asked if you feel comfortable sharing, was Heklina's body transferred to the US? Is it still in the UK? Heklina was cremated in London, and while there was an autopsy, we've never been told or given the results that would include cause of death. When they asked when and where did Heklina die, Peters announced her death on April 3rd, 2023, explaining that her front and drag pier was found on the floor, of their hotel guest room. The 2 San Francisco drag icons have been touring together across Europe and will also share in the same flat in Soho at the time. Now, Tony Bravo wrote in the San Francisco Chronicle, Heklina and Peaches Christ were sharing the rented flat in the Soho area while rehearsing. When Heklina decided to arrange a sexual encounter, Peaches said she opted to stay in a nearby hotel Saturday and Sunday to give her friend privacy. Now, the drag community has mourned the loss of Heklina after discovering she had passed away. And the drag community, then they said Peaches Christ keeps pressuring the London police to make progress in the investigation about her death. And, she's been speaking out ever since, as we know. And she even went on the Bay Area's KRON4 News and subsequently wrote in an Instagram post, continuing to get the word out about the lack of answers surrounding the death of Heklina. Lots of people have been asking me about what can be done. And I've been encouraging folks to reach out to the American and British politicians and representatives for help pushing Scotland Yard for answers. If we don't get more resolution or anything that looks like justice for Heklina, I'm thinking that we should stage a big queer protest in London soon. So I would definitely love to know if the gays are out there in London protesting on Heklina's behalf and what's going on in regards to this case. Because it's like, yeah, how do y'all just going to sit up here and just be like, oh, well, a person who's gay, someone who's a drag performer, or someone who's trans gets assaulted or killed. Oh, it's not a hate crime. Oh, we didn't find no evidence, but you didn't do the work to find out if the evidence was what it was. And then we're in a situation where, okay, so now we're at a stalemate and nothing's being done. So I'm hoping that Heklina does get the justice that, you know, she wants to get for, that she deserves from her friend Peaches Christ speaking up and trying to get justice for her friend. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below.